The massive alien ship floated in the darkness of space like a metal predator waiting for its prey. The vessel was called the Apex Predator, and it was built for one purpose only: hunting. Its black hull gleamed under the distant stars, covered in sharp edges and deadly weapons. Inside the ship, Captain Vexstar stood 8 feet tall with green-scaled skin and yellow eyes that glowed in the dim light. His razor-sharp claws clicked against the metal floor as he walked through the corridors of his hunting vessel. Vexstar belonged to a race called the Zephyrians. For thousands of years, they had ruled most of the galaxy. They were born hunters with keen senses, thick armor-like skin, and deadly claws. To them, other species were either slaves or prey. Nothing more, nothing less. In the cargo hold of the ship, 5 humans sat in a metal cage. They had been captured 3 days ago when their transport ship broke down near Zephyrian space. The humans were scared and confused, but they tried to stay calm. Jake Morrison was a construction worker from Texas. He was 32 years old with strong hands and a quick mind. Next to him sat Lisa Carter, a marine biologist from California who studied ocean life. She was 28 and always tried to understand how things worked. Ben Hughes was the oldest of the group at 45. He had served in the Army for 20 years before retiring to a quiet life in Montana. His gray hair and steady eyes showed his experience. Amy Walsh was only 24, a medical student from New York who wanted to help people. The youngest was Kevin Park, just 17 years old, from Oregon. He was smart and good with technology. Though he had never been far from home before, the humans did not know why they had been captured. They whispered to each other in the cage, trying to figure out what the aliens wanted. The Zephyrians had not hurt them yet, but they had not been kind either. They were given basic food and water, but nothing else. Captain Vexstar entered the cargo hold with his hunt master Crixlon. Crixlon was even bigger than the captain, with darker scales and scars covering his arms. He had organized hunts for wealthy Zephyrians for over 50 years. Rich aliens paid huge amounts of money to hunt rare and dangerous creatures from across the galaxy. "So, these are the Deathworlders we have heard about," Crixlon said as he looked at the humans. His voice was deep and rough like grinding stones. "They do not look very dangerous to me." Vexstar nodded as he studied the 5 humans. "The rumors say they come from a planet so hostile that only the strongest survive, but look at them. They have no claws, no armor, no fangs. How dangerous could they be?" The humans stared back at the 2 aliens. Jake stepped forward and spoke through the metal bars. "What do you want with us?" "We were just traveling through space when our ship broke down." Crixlon laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "You will find out soon enough, little prey." The huntmaster turned to Captain Vexstar. "Our clients are very excited. Lord Dexka has paid triple the usual fee for this hunt. He wants to be the first Zephyrian to kill a human. The others have paid almost as much." Vexstar smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Good. We need the money after the last hunt went badly. Those crystalline beings from Sector 7 were too easy to track. The clients complained that there was no challenge." "These humans should be more interesting," Crixlon said. "I have studied their species. They have some unusual traits. They can run for very long distances without stopping. They heal quickly from injuries. And they work together in groups better than most species." "That just means they will last longer before we catch them," Vexstar replied. "The clients will enjoy a longer hunt." The next day, the ship arrived at a planet called Verdania 7. It was a jungle world with thick forests, dangerous animals, and violent storms. The Zephyrians had used it for hunting games for many years. The planet had everything needed to make: prey sufferer, deadly creatures, poisonous plants, and nowhere to hide for long. Crixlon gathered the 5 humans in a large room. On the walls were the heads of hundreds of different alien species. All had been killed during previous hunts. The humans looked at the trophies with growing fear and anger. "Welcome to your new home," Crixlon announced. "You will be taken to the surface of Verdania 7 in 1 hour. You will be given basic supplies, a knife, some food, water, and simple clothes. Nothing else." Lisa Carter spoke up. "This is murder." You cannot just hunt people for sport, Crixlon seemed amused. You are not people to us. You are prey, we are predators. This is the natural order of things. Ben Hughes stepped forward, his military training showing in the way he held himself. How many others have you killed this way? Hundreds, Crixlon said proudly. Maybe thousands. I have stopped counting. The Huntmaster continued explaining the rules. You will have a 6-hour head start before the hunters begin tracking you. There are 8 Zephyrian hunters who have paid for this privilege. They are the best in the galaxy. If any of you survive for 7 days, you will win your freedom. Of course, no prey has ever survived a Zephyrian hunt. Amy Walsh looked pale but determined. What if we refuse to run? What if we just stay in one place? Then you will die quickly instead of slowly, Crixlon replied. The choice is yours. Kevin Park, despite being the youngest, asked the smartest question. What weapons do the hunters have? Energy rifles, tracking devices, personal shields, and of course their natural abilities, the Huntmaster explained. Zephyrians can see in the dark, track by smell, and move through any terrain. We are perfect predators. Jake Morrison clenched his fists. And what makes you think we will just run around like scared animals? Vexstar entered the room at that moment. Because that is what prey does. That is what you are. An hour later, the 5 humans stood on the surface of Verdania 7. The jungle stretched out in all directions, thick and green and full of strange sounds. The air was hot and humid, and they could smell unfamiliar scents carried on the wind. Each human had been given a small pack with basic supplies dot above them. The apex predator disappeared into the cloudy sky. They were alone on an alien world, hunted by creatures that saw them as nothing more than entertainment. Ben Hughes looked at the others. Listen to me. We are not prey. We are humans. Our ancestors survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and every disaster Earth could throw at us. We did not get to the stars by giving up when things got hard. Lisa Carter nodded. He is right. We need to work together. We need to use our brains. Jake Morrison picked up his pack. Then let's show these aliens what humans can do when they fight back. The hunt was about to begin, but the Zephyrians had made one critical mistake. They thought they were hunting helpless prey. Instead, they had just declared war on the species that had climbed to the top of Earth's food chain not through claws or fangs, but through intelligence, determination, and the refusal to ever give up. 3 days had passed since the humans were dropped on Verdania 7 in the luxury cabin of the apex predator. Captain Vexstar expected to hear reports of successful kills by now. Instead, he received a communication that made his blood run cold. Captain, we have a problem, came the voice of Hunter Zeekmer through the radio. The humans are not acting like normal prey. They are not running in panic. Something is very wrong down here. Vexstar grabbed the communication device. What do you mean wrong? They are just soft creatures from a primitive world. Find them and kill them. Sir, you do not understand, Zeekmer replied, his voice shaking. Thylex is dead. We found his body this morning. He fell into some kind of trap filled with the local poison creatures. But this was not a simple hole in the ground. This was engineered. The humans built it. On the planet's surface, Ben Hughes crouched behind a fallen tree trunk, watching the area where they had set their latest trap. His military experience told him that panic was the enemy's best weapon, but these 5 humans had not panicked. Instead, they had done something the Zephyrians never expected. They had adapted. The first day had been about survival. Lisa Carter used her knowledge of biology to identify which plants were safe to eat and which ones were poisonous. She also studied the local wildlife, learning their habits and weaknesses. Amy Walsh treated small injuries and figured out how to make medicine from jungle plants. Kevin Park surprised everyone by remembering survival techniques from video games. And outdoor shows he had watched. Jake Morrison proved to be the most valuable asset. His construction experience meant he understood how to build things quickly and efficiently. While the Zephyrians expected the humans to run and hide, Jake was building. He created shelters, weapons, and most importantly, traps the second day they had encountered their first hunter. Zeekmore had been tracking them using his enhanced senses, confident that these weak creatures would be easy prey. He never expected to find a carefully planned ambush waiting for him. Ben Hughes had used his military training to set up a kill zone. When Zeekmore followed their trail, he walked directly into a pit trap that Jake had constructed. The hole was covered with branches and leaves, making it invisible until it was too late. At the bottom, Lisa had placed several of the planet's most venomous creatures, which she had carefully captured using improvised tools. Zek single quotes more died in agony, his superior Zephyrian physiology meaning nothing against the alien toxins flooding his system. Now, on the third day, the remaining 7 hunters were starting to understand that they were not dealing with ordinary prey. Hunter Kelder spoke into his radio as he carefully examined another trap site. Huntmaster Crixlon, these humans are using tactics we have never seen before. They are not just hiding from us, they are hunting us back. Crixlon's voice crackled through the communication device. Impossible. They have no weapons except basic knives. How can they be hunting you? They are using the environment as a weapon, Kelder explained. They have learned the habits of the local predators and are driving them toward us. They have built traps that would challenge even our best engineers, and they are working together like a military unit. In their hidden camp, the 5 humans were planning their next move. They had spent the past 3 days learning everything they could about their hunters. The Zephyrians were powerful, but they had weaknesses. They relied too much on their natural abilities, Ben explained to the group. They think their enhanced senses and physical strength make them unstoppable, but that makes them predictable. Lisa Carter had been studying the dead hunters' equipment. Their technology is advanced, but it is designed for hunting prey that runs away. They are not prepared for prey that fights back intelligently. Amy Walsh looked up from the medical supplies. She was organizing. I have been watching their behavior patterns. They hunt alone most of the time, even though they have communication devices. They are too proud to ask for help. Jake Morrison was sharpening a spear he had made from local materials. That pride is going to kill them. In construction we have a saying, the job that looks easiest is usually the one that kills you. Kevin Park had been working on understanding the alien technology they had recovered from Zeekmore's body. Despite being only 17, he had a natural talent for figuring out how things worked. I think I can modify their tracking devices. Maybe we can use them to track the hunters instead. The next morning, Hunter Thylex was stalking what he thought was a lone human through the dense jungle. His enhanced hearing had picked up the sound of someone moving clumsily through the undergrowth. He smiled, showing his sharp teeth. Finally, some easy prey. He followed the sounds for over an hour, getting more excited as he got closer. The human seemed tired and was making more noise. Thylex could practically taste the victory. He would be the first to bring back a human trophy. What Thylex did not know was that the sounds were being made by Kevin Park, who was deliberately leading the hunter into another ambush. The teenager had learned to move quietly when he needed to, but he was making noise on purpose now. Behind trees and rocks around the area, the other 4 humans waited. When Thylex finally thought he had cornered his prey, Ben Hughes attacked from behind. The former soldier had learned how to move silently during his military service. His knife found the gap between the hunter's armor plates before Thylex even knew he was there. The Zephyrian was strong and fast, but Ben had fought dangerous enemies before. More importantly, he was not fighting alone. As Thylex spun around to face his attacker, Jake Morrison hit him from the side with a heavy club. Lisa Carter threw a net made from vine fibers that tangled the hunter's legs. Thylex fell hard, his own strength working against him. Amy Walsh had prepared a poisoned dart using the same toxins that had killed Zeekmore. The medical student's knowledge of anatomy helped her find the perfect spot to inject the poison. The second hunter died within minutes. That evening, Captain Vextar called an emergency meeting with Huntmaster Crixlon. 2 hunters were dead, and the others were reporting that the humans were somehow tracking their movements. This is impossible, Vexstar growled. They are primitives from a backwater world. How are they killing trained Zephyrian hunters? Crixlon pulled up files on his computer terminal. I have been researching their home planet. Captain, I think we made a terrible mistake. Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world. What does that mean? Vexstar demanded. It means their planet tried to kill them every single day for millions of years, Crixlon explained. Ice ages, volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, super predators, diseases that wiped out most life. The only creatures that survived were the ones that could adapt to anything. Vexstar stared at the data. Are you telling me that these soft, weak-looking creatures are actually apex survivors? Crixlon finished. They did not evolve claws, or armor or poison. They evolved something much more dangerous. They evolved the ability to turn any environment into a weapon. They evolved the ability to work together to solve any problem. And Captain, they evolved the ability to never give up, no matter how hopeless things look. On the planet below, the 5 humans were preparing for the next phase of their plan. They had weapons now, taken from the dead hunters. They had food and shelter. Most importantly, they had hope, but they also had something else. They had anger. Lisa Carter had found evidence in the hunters' equipment that showed this was not the first time the Zephyrians had done this. Hundreds of intelligent beings had been murdered for sport over the years. We are not just fighting for our lives anymore, Ben Hughes told the group. We are fighting for justice. For everyone who died on this planet for their entertainment. Jake. Morrison nodded grimly. Then let's show them what happens when you hunt humans. Let's show them that we do not just survive, we fight back. The hunt was far from over, but the roles had completely reversed. The Zephyrians thought they were hunting prey, but they had made a fatal error. They had awakened something that should have been left alone. They had declared war on Earth's children, and Earth's children never lost a war they were determined to win. In the darkness of the alien jungle, 5 humans planned their next attack. The hunters had become the hunted, and they did not even realize it yet. By the 5th day of the hunt, only 3 Zephyrian hunters remained alive. What had started as an exciting hunting expedition had turned into a nightmare. The surviving hunters, Kelder, Nixara, and Zorthak, huddled together in a makeshift camp, their superior confidence completely shattered. Kelder jumped at every sound in the jungle. His enhanced hearing, once an advantage, now tortured him with constant fear. Every bird call could be a human signal. Every rustling leaf might hide an enemy. He had not slept properly in 2 days. This is madness, he whispered to his companions. How can these weak creatures be hunting us? We are Zephyrians. We are the apex predators of the galaxy. Nixara, the only female hunter in the group, checked her energy rifle for the 10th time that hour. I found another one of their gifts this morning, she said with a shudder. The humans had started leaving what Lisa Carter called psychological presents for the hunters. They would find the severed claws of their dead companions arranged in threatening patterns near their camps. Sometimes they would discover crude drawings made from blood and mud showing stick figures killing larger creatures. The humans were not just fighting back physically, they were waging war on the hunters' minds. We should call for extraction, Zorthak said. He was the youngest of the surviving hunters, barely past his 1st century. Captain Vexstar needs to know what we are dealing with, and admit that 3 elite Zephyrian hunters are afraid of. 5 soft aliens? Kelder hissed. We would be laughed out of the Empire, but fear was eating away at their warrior pride. These humans did not fight like any prey species they had ever encountered. Normal prey ran in panic, making noise and leaving easy trails to follow. These humans moved like ghosts through the jungle. They appeared when you least expected them and vanished before you could react. In their hidden base camp, the 5 humans were planning their final assault. They had spent the past 5 days learning everything about their enemies. The Zephyrians were physically superior in every way, but they had fatal flaws. Ben Hughes drew diagrams in the dirt as he explained their weaknesses. They hunt as individuals, not as a team. Even when they stay together, they do not really coordinate their attacks. Each one wants to be the hero who makes the kill. Lisa Carter had been studying the alien biology using samples from the dead hunters. Their enhanced senses are actually working against them now. They can hear and smell so much that they are getting overwhelmed with information. They cannot tell the difference between real threats and false signals. Jake Morrison had been busy. During the night, his construction skills had been put to deadly use creating what he called the final trap. It was not just one trap, but an entire network of connected devices that would funnel the hunters toward their doom. Amy Walsh had become an expert at using the planet's natural pharmacy. She had created paralysis darts, hallucinogenic powders, and healing salves from local plants. Her medical knowledge helped her understand exactly how to hurt the aliens where it would matter most. Kevin Park had completely figured out the alien technology. The teenager had rewired their communication devices to intercept Zephyrian transmissions. He had also modified their weapons to work for human hands. Most importantly, he had learned to jam their tracking equipment. I have been listening to their radio chatter, Kevin reported. They are scared. Really scared. One of them wants to call for help. Good, Ben said grimly. Fear makes people make mistakes. And we are going to use every mistake they give us. The humans had discovered something about themselves during these 5 days. When their lives were in danger, when they were fighting for survival, they became something more than just 5 random people. They became a pack. They thought as one mind and moved as one body. Lisa Carter had realized this on the 3rd day, when she instinctively knew that Jake was about to signal an attack without him saying a word. Amy Walsh could predict what medical supplies would be needed before anyone was injured. Kevin Park seemed to understand what technology they needed before the others even asked for it. Ben Hughes recognized it from his military experience. It was the same thing that happened to soldiers in combat. Individuals became a unit. A unit became a weapon. On the morning of the 6th day, Captain Vexstar received a desperate communication from his surviving hunters. Captain, we request immediate extraction, came Kelder's shaky voice. The situation down here is beyond our control. Vexstar could not believe what he was hearing. You are telling me that 3 elite hunters cannot handle 5 primitive aliens? Sir, these are not normal aliens, Nixara broke in. They are something else. They fight like demons. They think like military strategists. They work together like they share one mind. And they are hunting us, Zorthak added. We are the prey now? Captain Vexstar made a decision that he would regret for the rest of his life. Instead of calling off the hunt, he decided to prove Zephyrian superiority once and for all. I am coming down there myself, he announced, with my personal guard. We will show these humans what real predators can do. Hunt Master Crixlon tried to argue. Captain, maybe we should listen to our hunters. Something is very wrong with this situation. The only thing wrong is that our hunters have become cowards, Vexstar snarled. I will handle this personally. The humans intercepted this transmission thanks to Kevin Park's work with the alien technology. They now knew that more enemies were coming. Instead of being afraid, they felt something else. They felt ready. How many in his personal guard? Ben asked. Kevin checked the communications. Sounds like 6 more hunters plus the captain. That makes 10 total enemies. Jake Morrison smiled for the first time since the hunt began. Good, I was worried we would not have enough targets for all our traps. The humans spent the rest of the day preparing their masterpiece. Jake's construction network was connected to every tree, rock, and stream in a wide area. Lisa's biological weapons were placed at strategic points. Amy's medical knowledge helped them plan where to hit the aliens for maximum effect. Kevin's technology gave them control over the enemy's own equipment, but most importantly, Ben's military experience brought it all together into a coordinated plan that would make the Zephyrians' numerical advantage meaningless. When the 3 surviving hunters tried to reach the extraction point that evening, they walked directly into the humans' final trap. It was not just an ambush. It was a demonstration of everything that made humans the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Kevin Park gave the signal by using the aliens' own communication devices to create a feedback loop that stunned their enhanced hearing. Lisa Carter released clouds of hallucinogenic spores that confused their sense of smell. Amy Walsh fired paralysis darts with the accuracy of a trained sniper. Jake Morrison's traps activated in sequence, driving the confused and frightened hunters exactly where Ben Hughes wanted them. The former soldier appeared like death itself, moving with the deadly precision of someone who had fought real wars against real enemies. The battle lasted less than 10 minutes. When it was over, all 3 Zephyrian hunters were dead. But the humans had not just won a fight. They had sent a message. They took the aliens' communication equipment and sent a transmission directly to Captain Vexstar. "This is Ben Hughes, former Sergeant, United States Army," Ben spoke into the device. "You wanted to hunt humans for sport. Congratulations, you found us. But now you need to understand something important. When you hunt Earth's children, you are not hunting prey. You are declaring war on the species that survived every disaster our planet could create. You are challenging the species that turned being hunted into a hunting lesson for our predators." He paused, looking at his 4 companions who had become his brothers and sisters in this fight. "We are coming for you next, Captain. And we are going to show you what real predators look like." The transmission ended. In the luxury cabin of the Apex Predator, Captain Vexstar stared at the silent radio with growing dread. For the first time in his long life, the Apex Predator of the galaxy felt like prey below on the planet's surface. 5 humans prepared for the final phase of their war. They had started as victims, but they had become something the Zephyrians had never encountered before. They had become the thing that monsters feared in the dark. Captain Vexstar stood in the command center of his ship, staring at the communication device that had gone silent. His claws scraped against the metal console as rage and fear battled in his mind. 8 of his best hunters were dead, killed by 5 primitive humans who should have been easy prey. "Sir, what are your orders?" asked his second-in-command, a younger Zephyrian named Kexvalum. Vexstar's yellow eyes glowed brighter with fury. "Contact High Command immediately. Tell them we have a situation that requires military intervention." "Military intervention, sir? For 5 aliens?" Kexvalum looked confused. "The High Command will want to know why our hunting party cannot handle such a small threat." "Tell them these are not normal aliens," Vexstar growled. "Tell them we have discovered a species that poses a threat to galactic security. Tell them whatever you need to tell them, but get me military support now." The message was transmitted across space to the Zephyrian High Command on their homeworld. When the military leaders received the request, they were initially skeptical. How could 5 creatures from an unknown world be dangerous enough to require elite commandos? But Captain Vexstar had an impressive reputation as a hunter. If he was asking for help, perhaps the situation was more serious than it appeared. After much debate, they agreed to send a squad of their finest military specialists. War Captain Morgeth led the commando unit. He was a veteran of dozens of military campaigns across the galaxy. His black armor was covered with scars from battles against rebel species and dangerous creatures. To him, this mission seemed like an insult to his skills. 5 soft aliens, he told his squad as their military transport approached Verdania 7. The hunters must have grown weak from too many easy kills. We will show them how real Zephyrian warriors handle threats. His squad consisted of 12 elite commandos, each one trained in advanced warfare techniques. They had weapons that could destroy buildings, armor that could stop most attacks, and tactical equipment that gave them every advantage in combat on the planet's surface. The humans had not been idle while waiting for reinforcements to arrive. They had used Kevin Park's interception of alien communications to learn that military forces were coming. Instead of being discouraged, they saw this as an opportunity. Jake Morrison had been exploring the crash sites of previous hunting expeditions scattered across the planet. What he found made his blood run cold with anger. Hundreds of different alien species had been brought here to die for Zephyrian entertainment. The remains told stories of desperate last stands and innocent beings who had been murdered for sport. "Look," At this, he called the others over to one crash site. Among the wreckage were personal belongings, family photos, children's toys, wedding rings. These were not warriors or criminals. These were just ordinary people like us. Lisa Carter examined the evidence with the careful eye of a scientist. Based on the different crash sites, I estimate they have been doing this for at least 50 years, maybe longer. Thousands of beings have died here. Amy Walsh found medical equipment among the ruins that showed some of the victims had been doctors or medical personnel. People who dedicated their lives to helping others had been brought here to be hunted like animals. Her medical oath to do no harm burned in her heart. But these creatures had forfeited any right to mercy. Ben Hughes studied the tactical situation with professional interest. If commandos are coming, they will be better trained and better equipped than the hunters, but they will also be more predictable. Military units follow standard procedures, and standard procedures can be anticipated. Kevin Park had made a breakthrough with the alien technology. By combining equipment from multiple dead hunters, he had created a device that could monitor all Zephyrian communications in the area. More importantly, he had figured out how to hack into their weapon systems. I can turn their own guns against them, he explained to the group. Their weapons are controlled by computer systems. If I can get close enough to their equipment, I can make their weapons jam or even fire at the wrong targets. The humans had also discovered something else during their week on the planet. The hostile environment that was supposed to kill them had made them stronger. Lisa Carter's body had adapted to the alien toxins, making her immune to most of the planet's poisons. Jake Morrison's hands had grown calloused and strong from constant building and crafting. Ben Hughes moved through the jungle like a shadow, his senses sharpened by days of life-or-death survival. Amy Walsh could now identify medicinal plants by smell alone and had developed an intuitive understanding of alien biology. Kevin Park's mind had been pushed to its limits working with unfamiliar technology, expanding his abilities far beyond what he thought possible. When War Captain Morgeth and his commandos landed on the planet, they expected to find 5 terrified primitives hiding in the jungle. Instead, they found evidence of a systematic campaign that had destroyed an entire hunting party. These trap systems are sophisticated, reported one of his soldiers after examining Jake's construction network. Whoever built these understood advanced engineering principles. The biological warfare techniques show expert knowledge. Another commando added after finding Lisa's poison deployment sites. These are not amateur attempts. Someone with real training did this. Morgeth examined the remains of the dead hunters with growing unease. These kills were precise and coordinated. Look at the wounds. Each hunter was targeted at their weakest points. Someone studied our anatomy and physiology. The war captain began to realize that Vexstar had not exaggerated the threat. These humans were not random primitives. They were something much more dangerous. The first engagement between the humans and the commandos took place on the 7th day. Morgeth had split his forces into 3 groups to cover more territory. It was a standard military tactic that worked well against conventional enemies, but the humans were not conventional enemies. Ben Hughes had anticipated the split formation and prepared accordingly. He led the first group of commandos into what appeared to be a straightforward ambush. The soldiers, confident in their training and equipment, moved to surround what they thought was a simple trap. Instead, they walked into a complex killing field that Jake Morrison had spent 3 days constructing. The trap was not designed just to kill. It was designed to break morale and spread fear. Among the survivors, when the attack began, everything went wrong for the commandos at once. Kevin Park's electronic warfare turned their own weapons against them. Lisa Carter's biological agents attacked their respiratory systems through their air filters. Amy Walsh's medical knowledge guided precise strikes that bypassed their armor. At vulnerable joints, but most terrifying of all, was the way the humans moved. They did not fight like individuals trying to survive. They fought like a single organism with multiple bodies. When Ben Hughes moved left, Jake Morrison automatically covered his right flank. When Lisa Carter threw a biological grenade, Amy Walsh was already moving to treat any friendly fire casualties. The commandos had trained to fight armies, rebels, and dangerous creatures. They had never trained to fight a species that turned warfare into a form of pack hunting. 3 commandos died in the first engagement. The rest retreated in panic, reporting to Morgeth that they were facing opponents unlike anything in their military experience. "They move like they can read each other's minds," one surviving soldier reported. "They anticipated our tactics before we even implemented them. Their weapons are primitive, but they use them with perfect coordination," another added. "It was like fighting a single enemy with multiple bodies." Morgeth contacted Captain Vexstar with a request that shocked the hunting vessel's crew. "I need reinforcements. These humans are not just dangerous. They are actively hunting my commandos. They have turned this planet into their personal weapon." "Captain!" Vexstar stared at the communication device in disbelief. "You are telling me that 12 elite military commandos cannot handle 5 primitives?" "Sir, I am telling you that these are not primitives," Morgeth replied. "These are apex predators disguised as innocent prey. They have been playing with us from the beginning. Every move we have made has been anticipated and countered." The war captain paused, and when he spoke again, his voice carried a note of fear that chilled everyone who heard it. "Captain, I have fought across the galaxy for over 2 centuries. I have faced rebel armies, space pirates, and creatures that could tear apart battle tanks with their bare claws. But I have never faced anything like these humans. They do not just want to survive, they want to win. And they are very, very good at winning." In their hidden base, the 5 humans prepared for the final phase of their war. They had studied their enemies, learned their weaknesses, and proven that Earth's children could adapt to any challenge. Now it was time to end this hunt permanently. Not just for themselves, but for every innocent being who had died on this planet. For Zephyrian Entertainment, the real war was about to begin. Captain Vexstar could not stand the shame any longer. His hunting expedition had become a disaster. His elite hunters were dead. Military commandos were calling for help against 5 primitive aliens. The reputation he had built over centuries was crashing down around him. "Prepare my personal transport," he ordered his crew. "I'm going down to that planet to end this embarrassment myself." Huntmaster Crixlin tried to stop him. "Captain, perhaps we should listen to War Captain Morgeth. These humans have proven to be more dangerous than we thought." "More dangerous?" Vexstar roared. "They are soft creatures without claws, armor, or fangs. One have been hunting for over 300 years. I will not be defeated by primitive aliens who should have died on the first day." Vexstar took his personal guard of 6 elite warriors with him. These were not ordinary hunters or even military commandos. These were his hand-picked bodyguards, veterans who had protected him through decades of dangerous expeditions. If anyone could handle 5 humans, it would be them. As their transport descended toward Verdania 7, Vexstar felt confident again. Soon he would have 5 human heads to mount on his trophy wall. The galaxy would remember that Zephyrians were the ultimate predators. On the planet's surface, the humans watched the transport ship land through modified alien scopes. Kevin Park had been monitoring all communications, so they knew exactly who was coming. "The big boss himself," Ben Hughes said grimly. "He's bringing 6 more guards with him. That makes 10 total enemies still alive on this planet." "Good," Jake Morrison replied as he checked his improvised weapons. "I was getting tired of small groups. Let's finish this properly." The humans had spent the past week turning the entire hunting ground into their personal weapon. Every tree, rock, stream, and cave had been modified to serve their purposes. They knew the location of every plant, every animal, and every hiding spot within miles. More importantly, they had discovered something about themselves that the Zephyrians could never understand. When humans fought for justice instead of just survival, they became something beyond dangerous. They became unstoppable. Lisa Carter had found evidence in the alien equipment showing that hundreds of species had been exterminated on this planet. Over the years, entire families had been brought here to die for entertainment. Children had been hunted alongside their parents. The Zephyrians had turned murder into a business. "We are not just fighting for our lives anymore. she told the group. We are fighting for everyone who cannot fight back. We are fighting to make sure this never happens again. Amy Walsh had been treating the psychological wounds as well as the physical ones. The week of constant danger had changed all of them, but it had also revealed their true strength. We have become something they never expected. We have become justice. Kevin Park had made a final breakthrough with the alien technology. He had learned to control not just their weapons and communications, but their transport systems as well. I can ground their ships. Once they land, they cannot leave. Until we let them. Captain Vexstar and his guards moved through the jungle with supreme confidence. They had tracked the humans to a clearing near a crashed ship from a previous hunt. The Zephyrians spread out in a classic hunting formation, preparing to surround their prey. What they did not know was that the humans had chosen this location specifically. Jake Morrison had spent 3 days turning the entire area into a complex trap that would neutralize the aliens' advantages one by one. Ben Hughes spoke into a communication device they had taken from dead hunters. His voice was broadcast to every Zephyrian on the planet, including those still on the ship above. Captain Vexstar, this is Sergeant Ben Hughes. We know you are here. We know why you came. And we have something to show you before we finish this. Show me what, primitive? Vexstar's voice came back through the device. The evidence, Ben replied. We found the records of everyone you have murdered on this planet. Families with children. Medical personnel who dedicated their lives to helping. Others, scientists who were exploring the galaxy in peace. Hundreds of innocent beings killed for your entertainment. Lisa Carter's voice joined the transmission. We also found something else, Captain. We found out that the Galactic Council has laws against this kind of hunting. You are not just murderers. You are war criminals. Kevin Park had indeed discovered that the Zephyrians were breaking galactic law. More importantly, he had figured out how to broadcast their evidence across space to the Galactic Council itself. Every moment of the hunt had been recorded by the aliens' own equipment, creating perfect evidence of their crimes. Your own devices have been transmitting everything to the authorities, Kevin added. The entire galaxy now knows what the Zephyrian Empire has been doing in secret. Captain Vexstar felt a cold fear in his stomach. If the Galactic Council had evidence of illegal hunting, the Zephyrian Empire would face severe sanctions. His personal reputation was the least of his problems now. It does not matter, he snarled into his communicator. Dead witnesses cannot testify. I will kill all of you and destroy the evidence. You can try, Amy Walsh's voice came through the device. But you should know something first. We are not the same people you captured a week ago. This planet has changed us. You have changed us, and we are no longer prey. The final battle began when Vexstar's guards moved to surround the clearing. They expected to find 5 terrified humans hiding behind makeshift defenses. Instead, they walked into a perfectly orchestrated demonstration of everything that made humans the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Jake Morrison's traps activated in sequence, separating the guards from their captain and from each other. The construction worker had built a 3-dimensional maze that forced the Zephyrians to move exactly where the humans wanted them to go. Lisa Carter released clouds of biological agents that attacked the aliens' enhanced senses. Their superior hearing became a liability when filled with painful feedback. Their keen sense of smell became useless when overwhelmed with conflicting scents. Kevin Park turned their own technology against them, weapons jammed at critical moments. Communication devices broadcast false information. Even their armor began to malfunction as he hijacked their computer systems. Amy Walsh moved through the battlefield like an angel of death, her medical knowledge guiding precise strikes that bypassed alien defenses. She knew exactly where to hit to cause maximum damage with minimum effort, but it was Ben Hughes who brought it all together. The former soldier moved through the chaos with deadly precision, coordinating the others with hand signals and tactical expertise. He had fought real wars against real enemies, and this was just another battlefield to control. The guards died one by one, victims of their own arrogance and the humans' relentless teamwork. Captain Vexstar found himself alone, surrounded by 5 humans who had evolved from prey into apex predators during their week in hell. "This is impossible," he gasped, staring at the bodies of his elite guards. "You are just primitives from a backwater world. How did you become so dangerous?" Ben Hughes stepped forward, his improvised weapons ready but his voice calm. "We became dangerous the same way every human becomes dangerous when you threaten what we protect. We adapted. We learned, we overcame." Jake Morrison moved to Vexstar left, cutting off escape routes. "You made one mistake, Captain. You thought we were prey because we do not have claws or armor. But humans did not reach the stars by being the strongest or the fastest." Lisa Carter appeared on the right, her biological weapons prepared. "We reach the stars because we never give up. Because we turn every disadvantage into an advantage. Because we make tools and allies out of everything around us." Amy Walsh moved behind the alien captain, her medical knowledge making her the deadliest of them all. And most importantly, because when someone hurts innocent people, we do not just fight for ourselves, we fight for justice. Kevin Park emerged from the shadows, alien technology in his hands but human determination in his eyes. "You thought hunting humans was a game, Captain. You were wrong. When you hunt humans, you declare war on the species that never loses a war. They are determined to win." Captain Vexstar raised his claws in a final desperate attack, but it was too late. The 5 humans moved as one, their coordination perfect after a week of shared survival. The alien captain fell, defeated not by superior strength or technology, but by the unstoppable force of human determination. As Vexstar lay dying, Ben Hughes knelt beside him. "This did not have to happen, Captain. If you had treated other beings with respect instead of seeing them as prey, none of this would have been necessary. But you chose to be a predator. So we became something that hunts predators. The hunt was over. But more importantly, the galaxy had learned a lesson that would never be forgotten. The evidence Kevin Park had transmitted reached the Galactic Council, leading to the immediate outlawing of all Zephyrian hunting practices. The Empire faced sanctions that would cripple their economy and military for generations. The 5 humans were rescued by Galactic Council ships and hailed as heroes throughout the galaxy. They had not just survived an impossible situation. They had ended a practice that had murdered thousands of innocent beings. Ben Hughes became a military advisor, teaching other species how to defend themselves against predators.